let's come. Okay, okay, that's fine. Great, great. Done, it's okay, right. चलो फिर. So the North America mapping we will do today. North America mapping. The North America mapping रो हमको खासियत कौन रहिबो? खासियत रहबो कि North America is always news रे थाए. And first go through the North America. Let's say North America में map टिके देखि देबा. So these are the physical map of North America. North America रो प्रत्येक वर्ष कोठी ना कोठी कि each year they are asking a questions mapping question. Either that could be OPSC or UPSC or any other exams you are appearing. All the exams, competitive exam you are appearing, it will be helpful for you. That means this session is going to be what one of the most interactive session and one of the most beautiful session जोड़ा कि तुमको बिल्कुल help करिवो. Okay, clear. Thank you everyone. ना देखो फास्ट कथा होची नॉर्थ अमेरिका मैपिंग आमे जेतल करूचे व्हाट वुड बी द टेक्निक कोन गोटे मैपिंग पढ़िबार टेक्निक कोन technique is that first before going this is the what map of North America. Now last time OPSC asked a question, OPSC गोटे question पचार थिला सेतर से कहले कि बॉर्डर को नेकी पचारले राइट. दे आस्क ए क्वेश्चन कि बॉर्डर को नेकी कहार बॉर्डर अधिक कहार बॉर्डर कम एमते नेकी डिस्टेंस को नेकी क्वेश्चन पचारले. तो मु पूरा बेसिक रु जीवी राइट विथ बेसिक टू द हाईएस्ट लेवल को हमें पहुंचीबा मैपिंग रो पूरा डिटेल्स मेकानिज्म को हमें देखिबा. चलो फिर फर्स्ट दिस इज योर नॉर्थ अमेरिका is a continent and we will go through the surrounding of North America. The what surrounding of North America, like I will start from here, then I will rotate myself like this counterclockwise. So here is what Gulf of Mexico. This is it. This one is what Gulf of Mexico. See, Gulf of Mexico is an important region. Then why? एठू प्रत्येक वर्ष क्वेश्चन केमिति आसे आमी सेटा जानिबा दरकार जे क्वेश्चन एग्जैक्टली आसुची केमिति क्वेश्चन आसुची. हाँ जदि तमे कहबो कि 39th parallel, so this is what 39th parallel which separates the आमे कहबा Canada and USA, that is what 39th parallel जाको हमें कहि परिबा. तो ये तम रहि जिवो. तो let it be. Now एक the first one is Gulf of Mexico, which is important because this Gulf of Mexico is important because of twister. UPSC asked last year twister in the mains. So twister forms here. That means tornado, which is called as what tornado, that forms maximum here. So tornado is what I would say maximum tornado in the world that forms to the Gulf of Mexico region, and that is why UPSC last time asked a question from here. Then why this is important to other question, what would be the other areas? This region is also important for what? Because there is the river is coming, the longest and the largest river is coming, that is Mississippi River. That is what Mississippi. Now this Mississippi River, right? So this Mississippi River is the longest and largest river, making Badfoot Delta. Making what? Badfoot Delta. And that is why this is also important. The Mississippi River, which is forming Badfoot Delta here. That is why this is important. This is the only एकलौता river है पूरा नॉर्थ अमेरिका में जो कि Badfoot Delta बनाता है. हमारे इंडिया में Badfoot Delta है ही नहीं. हमारे इंडिया में कौन सा है? ज़्यादातर Arquette Delta है और Cuspat Delta है और Cuspat Delta will be there. So Arquette Delta and Cuspat Delta, they are not same. Simple, when I say Cuspat Delta, that is basically is a delta which is highly erosive, which is what highly erosive. So delta, either they will ask you a question from the delta, so that is why this is what Badfoot Delta is important. You have to remember that Mississippi, right? Next comes here, this is what Florida Peninsula. This one is what Florida Peninsula. Now ebe tam mane shunithebo कि Rakesh what the man Shukla ji. What? The Shukla ji. Who is the second person? What? The Shukla is the second person that who moved to the space through the what Azio mission, जोटा Azio mission 4 जोटा हमें देखते from the what from here the Florida रे होची Cape Canaveral. Here is a region called Cape Canaveral, जोठी तमरा नासा रा हेडक्वार्टर रही कौन रही नासा रा हेडक्वार्टर एटा होची पेनिनसुला एठी अछि एंड दिस रीजन इज ये तुम देखि परिबो दिस वन इज क्यूबा ये होची क्यूबा कैरिबियन सी तळे रहबो कैरिबियन सी दिस साइड अटलांटिक ओशन दिस साइड इज पैसिफिक ओशन एपटे तमर पैसिफिक ओशन रहिबो दिस साइड अटलांटिक ओशन रहिबो हियर इज हियर कैरिबियन सी दिस इज गल्फ ऑफ मेक्सिको. So these are the important facts हमें देखो आगे सराउंडिंग देखिबा तापरे भीतर को आसबा के भीतर कोन अछि ताको हमें देखिबा टिके टाइम लागिबो बट हमें पेशेंसली जिबा. Now this region is what Florida's what state, this is what Florida state, Florida state. This one is also important because it is dividing Cuba and USA. Cuba and USA is separated through the Florida state. Then it would be what as usual Atlantic Ocean is there. But one thing is important that this year itself, right, in it was March or somewhere else, if I can rightly recall, so, or initially in January or somewhere else, right. So there was a Baltimore bridge that collapsed close to the New York, close to the what? Oh, Washington, sorry, it's not New York, it's a Washington. John F. Kennedy Space Center, that one of you comment karicha tamman ko bhitaru. Okay, this is what Cape Canaveral, the John F. Kennedy Space International Space Center, from where the what with the collaboration with SpaceX द्वारा NASA कौन करूची जो आजियो मिशन 4 ये एठू ही लॉन्च करा जाइछि from the Cape Canaveral. This is important region and this region also mangrove forest एठी बहुत देखा जाए. एठी कौन देखा जाए? mangrove forest. ये region रे बहुत सारा mangrove forest देखा जाए. And this is what kind of climate? यदि तुमको पचारे एई जो एरिया रे को प्रकार climate देखा जाए, this is China type of climate. This is what China type of climate. यदि तुमको climate पचारिबो एई जो region टारे को type of climate देखा जाए, this is simple तुम कहबो it's a China type of climate. It's a what China type of climate. साधारणतः China कोठी होची एशिया रे eastern part. So the eastern part of the continent will have China type of climate and the western part of the continent like here it will have what Mediterranean type of climate. It will have Mediterranean type of climate on the western side. Mediterranean type of climate. So this is the basic difference you have to. Baki we are not going into the depth, right? We are not going into the deeper part. So basic things I am covering. Then we will gradually move on. So as I move from here, the Florida state is there, which is dividing Cuba. This side is Cuba, which is known for what? For its sugarcane, and the capital is Havana. Here is Florida Peninsula. So Florida Peninsula से आगे चलो फिर. Now, so there will comes your that Washington, the capital, and near to Washington, what will happen there? Just a minute. In the Washington, just a minute. क्लास यूट्यूब हम देउछि. एक मिनट. Fine. Okay. So Namaste Soumya. Which is the best place to live? I would say go for the Mediterranean type of climate. So that would be best place for the live. Okay. If you say, if you ask me which is the best place to live, I would suggest you, Soumya, that the best place will be always Mediterranean kind of, but the best class is in the world. If you see, obviously I will prefer to have the British type of climate. If you are having British type of climate, so that is the what best climate, right? The British type of climate is the best climate. If you are having that one, then it's a fine. Okay, chalo फिर next time jiva. Then as I said, case near the New York. So where is not New York? It's a Washington. Washington. So what is the news is that then in the Washington, एक minute. In Washington, there is Chesapeake Bay. There is what? Chesapeake Bay, which is important. Chesapeake Bay. Now OPSC already they have asked the Chesapeake Bay. Already they have asked Chesapeake Bay, right? Now this Chesapeake Bay is important bay. Why? Because this is close to your, that one is close to your Washington, Chesapeake Bay, and in that Chesapeake Bay, right? In that Chesapeake Bay there is Baltimore. There is what? Baltimore. That Baltimore, that bridge collapsed by what? By an accident. That accident took place of a ship which was origins Indian origin. It was like that. You may go for the what? Australia is, then go for the Melbourne. That is ଆହୁରି ତାଠୁ ଭଲ Melbourne. If you wants to move to Australia, New Zealand, that is also best. Best place I would say India. Okay, don't worry, no need to go to UK. Best place is India. Bas. Okay. The Baltimore is done. Then apart from that, as I move from the Baltimore to the right, here comes that the Grand Bank. Here is what? Grand Bank. This Grand Bank, the world famous fishing ground, and that is probably here. This is not here. So here is your Grand Bank. Exactly, the Grand Bank lies here. This one. This is Newfoundland. This one is what? Newfoundland. And Grand Bank is here. So this particular region is your Grand Bank, the world largest fishing ground. The world largest fishing ground is here, Grand Bank. This one is Labrador Sea, and here is a state called Davie State. Is a what? Davie State. This would be Gulf of, that is the what? Baffin Bay. I would say Baffin Bay. So the important things you have to remember, because water body, they are asking water body. That is why I am covering water bodies fast. Gulf of Mexico, Florida State, then it would be Chesapeake Bay close to Washington, then there is Baltimore, then I would come to what? Grand Bank, and this is the Gulf of St. Lawrence, and this one is, this particular place is Gulf of St. Lawrence. This one is what? Gulf of St. Lawrence. This one is Gulf of St. Lawrence, and here would be Newfoundland. The place is called what? Newfoundland, and just Newfoundland, just away from the Newfoundland towards the sea, there comes your the world's largest fishing ground, Grand Bank, because of what? The meeting of your, that is Labrador cold current and North American drift, that North Atlantic drift, sorry, that is what? North Atlantic drift. It will move like this, and from here the cold current is coming and they are meeting. So this would be the meeting place. So that is why that one is important to remember. Next we will move. Then here would be the famous Davie State, that is named after the famous geomorphologist or the physical geographer William Morris Davis. तांको ना रही William Morris Davis रो ना रही. चलें. Then This would be your Hudson Bay. This is what? Hudson Bay. This one is your Hudson Bay, which is in Canada, and this particular region is called as Canadian Silt. This particular region is called as what? Canadian Silt. This is the silt means what? The oldest part of the earth, one of the oldest part of the earth, the Canadian Silt. This is what? Canadian Silt. That means the majority part is what? I would say the topographies that used to exist that is eroded, and the oldest part is remain. So this particular region, so there is also indication is that any region of the world which is having oldest rock, that by default will have uranium is type of what? Mineral, and that is why Canada is having one of the what? Highest uranium deposit in the world after I would say Australia and Kazakhstan. So Canada is the third largest reservoir of uranium. That is also important, and this Canadian Silt is very important, right? So that would be your Canadian Silt. Now this would be your Gulf of Mexico, and next we will comes. Now this Baffin Bay, see this particular region, this region is snow region, snow area, but the snow is fast melting in this particular point. This would be Baffin Bay, here would be Labrador Sea, and this they are connected through the what? As I said, Davis Strait, through the what? Davis Strait, and this Davis Strait UPSC has asked so many times. Now this would be your Arctic Sea. This would be what? Arctic Sea or Arctic Sea, and this Arctic Sea is important because that is number of तुमको सेठी कोन आसी जिवो न्यूज आसुची आर्टिक सी रे कोन न्यूज कोन तुमको सर आर्टिक सी रे न्यूज कोन आर्टिक एम्प्लीफिकेशन ते मैं आस्क यू के आर्टिक एम्प्लीफिकेशन कोन अटलांटिफिकेशन कोन किछि वर्ड देखो जाकू कहा जे अटलांटिफिकेशन बा आर्टिक एम्प्लीफिकेशन माइट बी एम्प्लीफिकेशन तुमको पचारि पारे कि व्हाट इज आर्टिक एम्प्लीफिकेशन, what is Atlantification? They are two different what? Atlantification, I means when I say Atlantification, that means the area of Atlantic Ocean is increasing and that is moving towards the pole. That is moving towards the pole because of the melting of ice. Because of what? Melting of ice, melting of ice shelf. Ice shelf is destroying very fast in the northern hemisphere, particularly I would say Greenland. Particularly the ice shelf of the Greenland, they are finishing off. And that is why, right, that is why the Atlantification process is going on, and Arctic amplification also there. What is exactly the meaning of Atlantification? That means widening, that means increasing the area. And what is the meaning of Arctic amplification? Means the temperature of the Arctic Sea is rising. Why it is rising? Because of the global warming. Whether global warming is the sole cause? No. Ocean current also another factor. What? Oceanic current also another factor. That is why. And which oceanic current? That Norwegian warm current. That what? Norwegian warm current. That Norwegian warm current also is one of the important reason for the Arctic amplification, right? For the what? Arctic amplification. So now Arctic amplification is done. Now comes to here is a Beaufort Sea, and this is Chukchi Sea. Here is Bering Sea. This one is your Bering Strait, the famous Bering Strait. This side is Russia. So that time it was USSR, right? That time, and this one is Alaska. So ये पटे USA, Alaska is what? USA part. That means I would shortly I would write USA. This one is Russia. So that time it USSR. Now it's Russia. The Russia to किनी देइछि कि ये जो Alaska आगे से कहार पार्ट थला earlier it used to be part of Russia. USA आकु किनी देइछि Russia to. तेणु करी Alaska वर्तमान पार्ट कहार USA रो. This is now part of USA. And this Alaska, right? Now here is some important points you have to remember. That is Bering Strait. Here is what? Bering Strait. And this would be Chukchi Sea. Chukchi Sea. Right? There would be Chukchi Sea. CHUKCHI. Chukchi Sea. Right? And this would be Bering Sea. So Bering Sea and Chukchi Sea is connected through the Bering Strait. And here would be what? Gulf of Alaska. This region would be Gulf of Alaska. Gulf of Alaska. So this would be your Gulf of Alaska, right? So there would be Gulf of Alaska also there. That means हमको Gulf of Alaska देखा जीवो, right? तो Gulf of Alaska जोठी रही in this particular region, right? This Gulf of Alaska, here is warm water, but warm current एठी गोटे देखा जाइए ताको हमें आसीबा. Now this region is your completely Alaska and this one is your Gulf of Alaska. ଆଉ ଏଇ जो आइलैंड टा देखुछ एबे न्यूज रे अछि एठी गोटे शिप बुडी जाइछि चाइना रो गोटे शिप टा जाउथला कैलिफोर्निया. ध्यान से सुनिबो, चाइना रो गोटे शिप आजि देखिबो जदि तमे इंडियन एक्सप्रेस रो आजि रो न्यूज जदि तमे देखिथिबो, a ship which was carrying more than 3,000 cars that what drawn here. So एठी बुडी जाइछि कोठी ए allusion somewhere here that drawn ये हेठी बुडी जाइछि because of फायर. तो फायर लगी कि सेठी बुडी जाइछि. ये शिप टा जाउथला कोठी कैलिफोर्निया को जाउथला. तो एटा को टिके मन रखिबो. एंड दिस इज व्हाट देन ये आइलैंड ग्रुप रो ना कोन Aleutian आइलैंड. ए जो देखुछ एमती बाहर की जाउछि, दिस इज Aleutian island group. And this Aleutian island group ro, and there is also Aleutian trench also. There is also Aleutian trench. That would be also what Aleutian trench madhya rahibo, right? Right. So that reason also important. Now next we will have here is Vancouver. Now that 1914 everybody remembers that what that Komagota Maru incident took place when the Vancouver authority or the British Columbia, here is what British Columbia, a place called near the Vancouver, British Columbia. From here the ship was returned back to the Kolkata port and where open fire took place or the firing took place. That was what colonial legacy time रे हमें कहबा during the colonial era, that 1914. तो ये होची तमरो Vancouver port. तो western रे जति हमें देखबा पूरा पैसिफिक कोस्ट रो सबटो लार्जेस्ट पोर्ट तुमको Vancouver port एठी मिलेबो and British Columbia also there. So these are the region, right? The Chukchi Sea, we have gone through the Chukchi Sea, we have gone through the Bering Strait, we have gone through the what Davis Strait, we have gone through the Florida State as well, right? Now we will go through, we will मतलब ये अभी स्टार्ट ही हुआ है, पूरा डिटेल में इसको हम देखेंगे. Here would be now this region, you can see this is peninsula, what California Peninsula, the peninsula of California, peninsula of California, and this is Gulf of California. This is what Gulf of California. This particular region is what Gulf of California, Gulf of California. So this one also important, Gulf of California, because last year it took forest fire. It was all the way, the forest fire was also there, right? In this region the forest fire was there, California forest fire, because of the dry land, right? Because of the what dry land, and northern wind was also very strong that time. Northern wind was very strong, that also propelled the fire. Okay, so these are the surrounding water bodies of North America. These are the what surrounding water bodies of North America. Now surrounding water bodies, I will again repeat, Gulf of Mexico, here is Florida State, Atlantic Ocean, that would be what Gulf of St. Lawrence, Labrador Sea, Davis Strait, Baffin Bay, Hudson Bay, Beaufort Sea, Chukchi Sea, here would be Chukchi Sea, jaku mu lekhithili ye livi jaichi, Bering Strait, Bering Sea, there would be Gulf of Alaska, this region is Vancouver, this one is what California, Gulf of California. So these are the water bodies surrounding the USA. Apart from that, that is what close to New York, there is Chesapeake Bay, and Chesapeake Bay ro gote chotto part Baltimore which collapsed this year in the beginning of the last year. It was also in news. तो ये सब को हमें देखिले. हाँ सांटाना भी थेला. Now आकु तो हमें देखिला परे जदि हमें जिबा, so this was the surrounding region. Apart from the surrounding region परे जदि मु कहि जिबी, next we will comes to what ये भी हमें ठीक आसीबा. Let's see. Now I will draw here, right? So I will draw here the North America. So you will also learn how to draw the North America. See how to draw the North America. You can also draw like this. Let's say Now this is how I have drawn the North America, and this side would be your Canada, USA, Mexico. This would be what? Mexico, USA, Canada. ना G7 मीटिंग मध्ये भी कनाडा रे हितला, तेणुकर ये मध्ये इम्पोर्टेंट जदि आम G7 मीटिंग कहबा ये मध्ये हितला, सो दैट इज व्हाई दिस इज आल्सो इम्पोर्टेंट, ताकू मध्ये तुमको मन रखा पड़िबो G7 मीटिंग होतला, राइट. नाउ व्हाट would be the important points here? Then as we have gone through the water body, here would be what? Gulf of Mexico, Gulf of Mexico. Here is Florida state, Cuba is here, Florida state is here, right? Florida state. This side is your what? Hudson Bay. This is Hudson Bay, Baffin Bay. Again I am repeating, Bering Sea, that is what? Labrador Sea, Labrador Sea, Davis State, Hudson Bay, Beaufort Sea, and this side would be Bering Strait. Right, this would be done. These things we have done, and there would be also Gulf of California. This side, Gulf of California also there. So these things we have done it as of now, right? चलो फिर आउट गया में जीवन. Now ताले हमें ये पढ़े देखिले. Here would be Gulf of Alaska. ये रहबो तमरो Gulf of California. Done. चलो. So these are the, here would be Pacific Ocean, Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean, okay. Now I will comes into the middle part. This much is done to all. एति समस्तु आसीबो, करेक्ट. एबे आसीबा हमें ताहले फास्ट मु आसीबी तारो माउंटेन्स को. आगे मु माउंटेन्स कहूची, नहले माउंटेन को आगे आसीबा. तो माउंटेन को हमें देखबा. मु जेमथि ड्रॉ करबी त माने सेमथि करिवो. एटा को लिभेई दउची माउंटेन. एबे देखो माउंटेन्स, the longest and the largest mountains of North America, that is Rockies. That is what? Rockies. The longest and largest mountain किए ता ना होची Rockies. Mountain draw करूची मु Rockies, ता ना होची किए Rockies. This is mountain. Now Rockies पाखरे आउ गोटे mountain अछि, ध्यान से सुनिबो, right? Let's say मुको 1 देइतली, आकु 2 देली. ए 2 रो ना कोन? So that one Sierra Nevada. Sierra Nevada. Then आउ गोटे एमथि कोस्टल को लागि कि रहिछि, ता ना होचे Cascade. ता ना होचे Cascade. Again here is there Coast Mountain. Coast Mountain. Again here is also small there Coast Range. ताले देखो केतेटा माउंटेन एठी अछि. सबुठु लार्जेस्ट रहला तमरो ये के जोटा नंबर 1 करिछि, दैट इज रॉकीज. रॉकीज को लागि के अछि के सायरा नेवाडा. तार पछ को के रहला कैस्केड. देन एठी रहबो कोस्ट रेंज. हियर वुड बी कोस्ट माउंटेन. तो एठी एते गुडा माउंटेन अछि. तार शॉर्ट टेक्निक कोन आर मन रखिया पे हेले, सारे लोग कस के पकड़ कोस्ट पे जाना है. कौन तार टेक्निक? सारे लोग कस के पकड़ो कोस्ट पे जाना है. अर्थात सारे, अर्थात सियरा नेवाडा. देन सारे लोग कस के पकड़ो मतलब कैस्केड. कहाँ पे जाना है? कोस्ट पे जाना है. कोस्ट रेंज एंड कोस्ट माउंटेन केतेबेले कहउथिले कथा ना जेतेबेले कोन हमरो बुडी जाउथला को शिप द वर्ल्ड लार्जेस्ट शिप जेतेबेले बुडुथला सेतेबेले मन पकाओ राइट दैट टाइम हम कोन दरकार नहीं तो ताहले नहीं मो कहा कथा शुणु मो कहा कथा आपण जे कहथिले कि हम तीनटा सब्जेक्ट को मिसई कि नेबे ना तो क्लास रो छी देखियो पेपर ओके ताले हमें एक मिनट है हाँ हम कहूँ कि सारे लोग कस के पकड़ो कोस्ट पे जाना है अर्थात सायरा नेवाडा कैस्केड कोस्ट रेंज ये सब हमें डिस्कस करी अच्छा एबे हमें आउट के ईस्टर्न पार्ट को आसीबा नाउ वी विल कम्स टू द ईस्टर्न पार्ट राइट ईस्टर्न पार्ट को मध्ये आसीबा टाइटनेक जेते बुडुथिला आउ किछि माउंटेन्स देखिबा राइट ना कम्स टू हियर इज हियर व्हाट अलास्का रेंज ब्रुक्स रेंज ये रेंज रो ना कोन अलास्का अलास्का रेंज this one is Brooks range there would be Brooks range आसी जीव ना अलास्का रेंज ब्रुक्स रेंज नाउ कम्स टू द हाईएस्ट पीक इन दिस रीजन ना ध्यान से सुनिबो द हाईएस्ट पीक ऑफ रॉकीज माउंटेन इज माउंट एल्बर्ट and the highest peak of Alaska and overall that is Denali Mount Denali here in Alaska रे अछि over the Alaska range Mount Denali the world not world it's about highest peak of I would say what overall North America itself the highest peak of Alaska itself the highest peak of North America Mount Denali this is Mount Albert next mountains what would be the next mountain is it clear to all fine समस्त बुझा पड़ुछि okay next time देखिबा here is Appalachian this would what Appalachian the oldest mountain of North America is a old fold mountain with highest peak Mount Mitchell the what highest peak is Mount Mitchell what Mount Mitchell so now apart from that in Canada in this particular region there is another mountain Notte here is another this one is blue mountain this one is what Blue Mountain this one is Allegheny mountain right that means Appalachian मझिरे रहिबो this side is Blue Mountain this side is Allegheny mountain right तो ये पूरा हमें देखले the mountains of North America including USA Canada ये पूरा देखि देले right हे जबो एबे करेक्ट हे जबो आउ थे रिपीट कर दउछि माउंटेन्स अलास्का रेंज ब्रुक रेंज रॉकी रेंज कैस्केड कोस्ट माउंटेन सायरा नेवाडा कोस्ट रेंज अलास्का सेठी ब्रुक्स थिला, अप्लाशियन, ब्लू, अलेग्नी. So these are with peaks हमें discuss कर ले. So these are the what mountains and these are what water bodies. These are what the white and blue color जोटा लिखी थी. These are water bodies. But here it would be Canada. तो ये mountain and water bodies हमें देखे ले. Next we will comes to other topic. अच्छा बाकी हमें आसीबा. एतिक तो बुझा पड़तो समस्तों को. Correct everyone. तो ये थिला तमरो mountain parts. Now we will comes to other parts. तो हमें other part को आसीबा. Now what would be other parts? Other part कहले जेमती हमरो lakes आई गेला, राइट. तो हमको एठी lakes मध्ये देखिबा. तो चलो फिर next we will comes to lakes. तो ठीक है हमें lakes को आसीबा. एक मिनट. Now I will comes to lakes. Lakes को आसीबा. lakes रे में देखिबा the great five lakes जोटा हमें जानी छे. the great five lakes जाको शॉर्ट रे हमें कौन कहू होम्स. जाको हमें शॉर्ट रे कौन कहू होम्स. the great five lakes हाँ एमन को कौन कहा जाए होम्स. ताले S for superior, E for Erie, M for Michigan, O for Ontario, H for Huron. These are the great five lakes of North America. एमन को कौन कहा जाए the great five lakes of North America. But एठी रहबे superior, Michigan, Huron, Erie, last रहबो Ontario. And from Ontario गोटे river origin होची ता ना होची Saint Lawrence River. What? The famous river, the busiest river, Saint Lawrence. Saint Lawrence River, the busiest river. Border between USA and Canada. जदि एठी डायग्राम भूल अछि. The border between what? USA and Canada. The only lake एमान को भितरु Superior is the largest lake by surface area. This is the world's largest lake by surface area. And Michigan is completely USA, within USA. बाकी जो चार lake, right? बाकी चार lake 1, 2, 3, 4. All these lakes are what? Divided by both the countries equally, except Michigan. Except your Michigan. Except your what? Michigan. तो Michigan को यदि हमें छाड़ी देबा बाकी जेतिकी रहिला they are equally divided. They are what? Equally divided. And this Michigan site rochi ke Detroit, the famous city Detroit. And also, right, the Detroit also there. There is also Chicago, Detroit, Chicago, in these regions they are also there. Okay, so these are the lakes. Now other lakes, the lakes, there would be so much of lakes, right, out there. Here is also another lake in this region, the what? Great Salt Lake. The Great Salt Lake, that is in Utah, in the what? Utah, the Death Valley region, Utah, in the what? Province of Utah. Great Salt Lake. So there could be Great Salt Lake, there could be homes. Apart from that, Canada also having 5 lakes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are also 5 lakes. There are also Canada also having 5 lakes. तो ये 5टा लेक से 5टा लेक ये गोटे टोटल ऊपर हमें 11टा लेक जदि देखिबा मोटा मोटी हमको जोटा पढ़िया को पड़े मोटा मोटी हमको 11टा लेक तो हमको पढ़िया पड़िबो इन नॉर्थ अमेरिका. तो जेतले तमे नॉर्थ अमेरिका पढुच तो हमको डेथ वैली यस तो तुमको ये 10टा 11टा लेक पढ़िया को पड़िबो. एंड हु आर द कनाडा रो जो लेक गुडा रोची जाको कहा जाय द ग्रेट 5 लेक्स ऑफ कनाडा. ध्यान से सुनिबो ये जो होम्स होची द ग्रेट 5 लेक्स ऑफ नॉर्थ अमेरिका. बट एटा जो मु लिखे 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 they are the what? Great 5 lakes of Canada. They are not the great 5 lakes of North America. एथिरे ताली के किया से सेडा मान को नाम मु लिखि दउची एठी. They are, let me write here, they are Great Slave, Great Bear, then reindeer, then reindeer, right? Then it will comes here Athabascar, then the last is Winnipeg. There would be Winnipeg. So these 5 lakes are there: Great Slave, Great Bear, Reindeer, Athabascar, Winnipeg. They are the 5 lakes of what? Canada. They are the 5 lakes of Canada. So total there is 11 lakes, 5, 5 and 1. So total 11 lakes are there in this particular region of right USA and the Canadian part. So जदि हम देखिबा टोटल हमको केतेटा लेक्स मिली गेला? यस, डेथ वैली जोटा तुमने लिखिछ है ना, तो ये रही जो तुम देखि परिबो। ताले हम लेक्स देखि देले, होम्स देखि देले, ग्रेट स्लेव, ग्रेट बियर, रेनडियर, अथाबास्कर, विनीपेग, ये सब हो गला गला खत्म। ताले में माउंटेन्स देखि देले, वी हैव डन माउंटेन्स, वी हैव डन लेक्स ऑफ नॉर्थ अमेरिका। चलो नेक्स्ट जीवा हमें ताले, राइट। तो दिस मच इज डन 12। This one is done. Next we will come okay, fine everyone, the legs are done. Chalo, now we will again draw. Now I will comes to other parts also. In the North America, now we will comes to rivers. Now comes to river, the rivers of North America. The rivers of North America, first is Mississippi, right? Mississippi, the famous one, what? Mississippi, Ohio, Tennessee. So this would be Ohio, Tennessee, Mississippi, तार ट्रिब्यूटरी मिसोरी, Arkansas, Red, Brazos, Rio Grande. So these are the rivers जदि हमें देखिबा, this one is Missouri, this one is Missouri, this one is Arkansas, this one is Red, this one is Brazos, this one is Rio Grande, this is Gulf of Mexico. So these are the Mississippi and its tributaries. Mississippi and its tributaries. Tributaries is Missouri, Arkansas, Red, Brazos is not a tributary. Okay. So this side is Ohio, Tennessee. Ohio and Tennessee. तो ये रहा तुम्हारा रिवर है जो, राइट। लेक तु ले रहा चलो, ओके। ना ताली रिवर को केमती मन रखियो मु कहितली कि मिस सकाळ उठिके अर्क दियंती, मुंडरे कोन थाए सिंदूर, राइट। मु कहितली मिस अर्थात मिसिसिपी सकाळे अर्क दियंती अर्थात चौरारे पानी दियंती बा पूजा करंती। आर्कानसास रेड मुंडरे थाए कोन रेड बा सिंदूर, समस्तंकर भलो प्रार्थना करे ब्राजोस। सो दिस इज हाउ यू हैव टू रिमेंबर माउंटेन्स रो मु कहि देइथिली कि राइट। नाउ वी विल कम्स टू रिवर। ना अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट यू आर आल्सो हैविंग सम रिवर दिस साइड, एठी मध्य किछि रिवर आसुची, कोलोराडो एंड कोलंबिया। तो हियर इज व्हाट कोलोराडो रिवर, कोलोराडो रिवर, this side Colombia, Colombia. Colorado river is famous for what? Grand Canyon. And the tributaries of Colombia is what? Snake. The tributary is a snake. The tributary is what? Snake. Now here would be another river, Yukon. It's a what? Yukon. Yukon river. And another is, there is Mackenzie river. Mackenzie river. So this is also, this region also you are having river, Yukon river, Mackenzie river, right? Then here is Columbia, the tributary of is Snake, Colorado, Grand Bank, Rio Grande, border between Mexico and USA. Border between US and Mexico होची तमरो Rio Grande, right? तो ये सब रिवर है गला ना. अनदर इंपोर्टेंट रिवर हम देखिबा एठी जोटा तमरो ए जो लेक्स रु ओरिजिन है कि आसुथला के the famous Saint Lawrence river. Saint Lawrence river, the busiest river. So this is how the river map. So right, so this would be the river. तो ये पूरा हमें river देखी देले. Complete है गला river. तो तमरो river of North America complete. जीवा तो ये हमें ताको देखी देले के लेक्स रिवर देखी देले. देन वी विल हैव लोकल विंड मध्य हमको देखा जीवो. तो मु एठी लोकल विंड रो गोटे ड्रॉ कर दउची ताकि इजी हबो. नाउ व्हाट वुड बी द विंड्स? ताले जदि मु विंड्स लिखबी यूएसए रे बा में नॉर्थ अमेरिका रे जो विंड्स देखा जाए, व्हाट आर द विंड्स रा नेम किए कहबो को फटाफट. देयर वुड बी चिनूक, there would be what? Norte, there would be norther, right? There would be blizzard, there would be Santana, right? Chinook, norther, Norte, blizzard, Santana. These are the winds. These are the what? Winds of North America. Now here would be the severe cold. 80 तुमको कौन देखा जो? In this region it would be blizzard, right? All the way comes all the way to this region. पूरा इठु इजे आसीबो blizzard. And here would be your Chinook. Here would be Chinook. So let's say this side would be your Chinook. So for example, if I 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, if I give the number to them, then it would be better. So Chinook is here. The Chinook would be 1, and this one is what I would say here blizzard 4. This one is 4th blizzard. Then norther is coming all the way like this. This is norther of 3. Then here would be Santana. Here would be Santana. That is your 5th. And in this region, it would be Norte. It would be Norte. It would be 2nd. So these are the wind in this region. So rivers, I have drawn the map, and these are the winds of North America. The winds of North America done. The river भी हमें done कर देले. चिनुक, हाँ चिनुक को आउ कौन कहा आइस ईटर भी कहा कारण इट्स ए लीवार्ड साइट ऑफ रॉकीज रे देखा जाए. तो विंड रे किए किए जीवो तमरो. तो विंड रे हमें ताकू देखि देले कि देयर वुड बी नॉर्थ अमेरिका रो जो विंड्स रहइबो. द विंड्स रे हमें देखि देले चिनुक, नॉटे, नॉर्दर, ब्लिजार्ड, सांटाना. रिवर्स हमें देखि देले मिसौरी, मिसिसिपी, आर्कांसास, रेड, ब्राजर्स, रियो ग्रांडे, ओहियो, टेनेसी, यूकॉन, मैकेंजी. दिस आर द पूरा रिवर हमें देखी दीजिए. लेक आप पूर्व देखी दी थी. चलो फिर नाउ देयर इज ओनली ग्रासलैंड पेरिस. तो जदि तमें जानच पेरिस द ओनली ग्रासलैंड पेरिस, राइट? ग्रासलैंड गोटे ही अच्छी. तमें लेक्स देखी देले डेजर्ट को तापर हमें जीवा. सो देन वी विल कम्स टू सो ग्रासलैंड टाको हमें एठी लिखि देबा. सो पेरिस, the only grassland, right? And this one is a what? Temperate grassland. This one is a temperate grassland. Next, ता व्यतीत आम आउ कौन देखा ना, we will also come through the desert of North America. When we go through the desert of North America, तो ना किए कहबो जेमती कि मोजेफ, जेमती कि हमें देखो सोनोरान, कैलिफोर्निया ड्राईलैंड, डेथ वैली, these are the desert area. These are what? Desert area. मोजेफ डेजर्ट, सोनोराम डेजर्ट, कैलिफोर्निया डेथ वैली, ये सबू कौटी अच्छी इन दिस पर्टिकुलर रीजन, ए पर्टिकुलर रीजन रे सब देखा जिवो हैला। एठी ये जेते डेजर्ट अच्छी तमरो, ऑल द डेजर्ट आर हियर, दैट मीन्स वेस्टर्न पार्ट ऑफ यूएसए। तो वेस्टर्न पार्ट ऑफ यूएसए रे एठी तुमको डेजर्ट देखा दो, राइट? ये जेते डेजर्ट तुमको एठी देखा जिवो, मेक्सिको एंड यूएसए बॉर्डर रु स्टार्ट हबो, राइट? तो ये रीजन रे देखा जो तुम जेते इंपोर्टेंट डेजर्ट आम कहवा। चले तो आपको आम ये डेजर्ट गुड़ा देखीदे, तो दैट मीन्स आम डेजर्ट कवर करदे। आम आउ कौन रहा, अच्छा ओशन करेन्ट टे कवर करवा। न आस ओशन करेन्ट ना, ओशन करेन्ट मु व्हाइट नहीं, अच्छा ये मुझे देखे जो ओशन करेन्ट एंड ब्लू कलर नौ। अच्छा लेट मी, दिस कलर इज विजिबल, नॉट विजिबल, ओके आई विल टेक दिस वन। तो कैलिफोर्निया पाखे जो तुम, आई होप के कैलिफोर्निया समस्त बुझा पड़ो कौटी अच्छी, ये यूकॉन तो जानी सारी, इट्स अ रिवर। ताले ओशन करेन्ट कौटी देखा जो कैलिफोर्निया, कैलिफोर्निया पाखे कैलिफोर्निया कोल्ड करेन्ट। जदि मु ओशन करेन्ट लिखी तो कैलिफोर्निया पाखे कैलिफोर्निया कोल्ड करेन्ट। कैलिफोर्निया कोल्ड करेन्ट। अलास्का पाखे अलास्का वार्म करेन्ट। आउ सेठी तमर रहिबो किए लैब्राडोर कोल्ड करेन्ट। लैब्राडोर कोल्ड करेन्ट। देन आउ कौन देखा जो तुमको, गल्फ स्ट्रीम वार्म, गल्फ स्ट्रीम, राइट? तो ये सब आमको देखा जिवो, दीज आर द थिंग्स। ये बुझा पड़ जाओ समस्त को, ताले हैला हे जिवो। ताले ये आम देखीदे जोड़ा तुम एठी भी देखी परिबो, राइट? ये मैप रे मध्य तुम देखी परिबो, ए मिसोरी, मिसिसिपी, आरकानसास, रेड सबू जाक मु डिस्कस कर देछि। मैकेंजी, हियर इज यूकैन रिवर, राइट? ये तुम मैकेंजी रिवर, ये सब मु डिस्कस कर देछि ऑलरेडी। तुम देखो गल्फ ऑफ कोलोराडो इज देयर एंड ग्रैंड कैनियन आई हैव डिस्कस स्नेक, आई हैव डिस्कस ऑल द पीक्स, ग्रासलैंड आई हैव डन also grassland, right? So everything we have done it. So that means the majority, that means we have done it ocean current, we done it lakes, we done it mountains, local wind, grassland and mountain peaks, then desert, lakes, all the lakes। तो ये सब हमें डिटेल डिस्कस कर देचे ये पूरा रीजन रे अमेरिका रो। अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट वी आर हैविंग व्हाट, परिपूर्णा बैच आमर चली जोटा कि मनसून ऑफर अच्छी तुम मानक पई एंड प्रिलिम्स जोटा कि ओपीएससी ओसीएस प्रिलिम्स 2025-2026 पाई प्रिलिम्स एंड मेंस फाउंडेशन बैच जोटा फैच दैट इज व्हाट बैच 5 जोटा तुम स्टार्ट होची सेल्स टा एंड होची कोन 30th जून 2025 रे सेल्स टा एंड होची तेणु एथरे जो माने इंटरेस्टेड यू कैन एनरोल ओनली 10,999 से मिलूची यूज द कोड दैट व्हाट कोड तमन को दिया जाइछि code is monsoon the code is what monsoon so use this code to get the maximum benefits पाइबा ପାଇଁ code को use करंतु apart from that we are also other what I would say like फाउंडेशन मध्य रही परिपूर्णा मध्य फाउंडेशन जदि आम कहवा तो सहीटा मध्य रही तो आमर डिफरेंट डिफरेंट बैचेस गुड़ा तुम देखिपर तो परिपूर्णा ऑलरेडी आम डिस्कस कले नॉर्थ अमेरिका मैप को पूरा आम डिटेल डिस्कस करदे पूरा नॉर्थ अमेरिका को आम जी तार विन ठू आरंभ कर सब डिस्कस करदे राइट चिन्हक जोटा लिखी तुम आई सीटर भी कह जाए तो ये पूरा आम डिस्कस करदे डिटेल वी हैव डिस्कस व्हाट इन डिटेल आम डिस्कस करदे एंड जो मॉनसून सेलटा एंड होची ता पूर्व तुम मैंने एनरोल कर दियो एंड वी विल टेक केयर इन देयर तो राइट आम तार पूरा बिल्कुल डिटेल एंड डेप्थ रे पढ़ा जीवो तुम मानको राइट जेमती कि सपोज आज मैपिंग पढ़ाला एमती डिटेल एंड डेप्थ रे पढ़ा जीवो एंड आई होप के द मैसेज मस्ट बी शेयर्ड विथ योर नियर एंड डियर्स एंड दोस हु आर प्रिपेयरिंग ओके बाय दिस आई विल एंड द सेशन थैंक यू एवरीवन